Look at this photo. In May of 2024, millions of people pointed their phones at the sky to capture these bright pink and green auroras. It was treated as a rare photo opportunity, a beautiful, harmless natural light show. But right beneath those colors, invisible magnetic energy was surging into the electrical grid, actively boiling the copper wires inside street-level transformers. If you look at the schematics from utility control rooms that exact same night, you see a completely different story. These glowing red and green monitors show cascading voltage anomalies and near-failure frequencies lighting up across entire power networks. That is the defining trap of a modern solar storm. The symptoms appear as a harmless natural wonder, completely masking a structural attack on the hardware that keeps our civilization running. Up in low Earth orbit, over 5,000 Starlink satellites executed an emergency synchronized maneuver, firing their thrusters to aggressively shift orientation. They were forced into the Stampede because the Earth's atmosphere was physically expanding from the intense heat of the solar radiation. Satellites are the canary in the coal mine. They feel the severe physical drag of a planetary-scale magnetic wave before it ever touches the ground. Telemetry data later confirmed that the Mother's Day storm was a 1 in 40-year geomagnetic event. And we didn't even take a direct hit. The brunt of the mass merely grazed the planet's magnetic shield. This orbital data reveals the physical instability of our global communication infrastructure. We were shielded by a few degrees of trajectory and blind luck, rather than any inherent resilience in our hardware. But to understand how a solar storm actually breaks a power grid, you have to stop looking up at the sky and start looking deep underground. When solar radiation hits the Earth, it creates geomagnetically induced currents, or GICs. These massive waves of electrical energy sink into the soil until they hit deep subterranean layers of dense, resistive rock. Because this rock doesn't conduct electricity, it acts like a mirror. It refuses to absorb the charge, violently rejecting billions of watts and forcing that energy right back toward the surface. Electricity always seeks the path of least resistance. Instead of dissipating harmlessly into the Earth, that rogue current finds the grounding wires of our own transmission towers and surges straight up into the lines. Your local geography dictates your survival rate. If your city sits above a massive shelf of resistive rock, the ground beneath your feet acts as a giant funnel, piping solar radiation directly into your local power grid. Trace that trapped current down the transmission lines, and it leads straight into the most critical choke points of our electrical infrastructure: extra high voltage, or EHV, transformers. Take a look at the sheer scale and complex insulators on this unit. Once inside, the direct current from the storm clashes with the alternating current of the grid, triggering a mechanical flaw known as half-cycle saturation. The magnetic core of the transformer becomes completely overloaded. The intense magnetic stress forces these multi-ton machines to physically vibrate. They emit a loud, low-frequency moan, and the copper coils inside rapidly begin to heat up far beyond their design limits. The insidious part of this process is that it rarely trips the safety breakers. Instead, the heat slowly bakes the paper insulation inside the coils, invisibly degrading the internal components. Our transformers absorbed the invisible damage of the May 2024 storm, significantly accelerating their path to mechanical failure. Eventually, those degraded transformers will face a storm strong enough to push them past their breaking point, causing hundreds of them to melt down simultaneously across the country. If that happens, there is no global stockpile we can tap into. Every extra high-voltage transformer is a custom-engineered piece of machinery, tailored specifically to the voltage and layout of its exact substation. Because they are highly specialized, the manufacturing lead time to build, test, and deliver a single replacement unit takes multiple years. A catastrophic solar blackout turns into an insurmountable manufacturing crisis, as affected regions wait years for replacement parts that cannot be mass-produced. We run a society built on cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and instantaneous global communication, but all of it relies entirely on a foundational grid constructed with obsolete mid-century hardware. The auroras of May 2024 served as a final warning shot, grazing our atmosphere just as the sun heads toward the most volatile peak of its 11-year cycle. The real danger of the next solar flare isn't that the physics are unstoppable. It's that we are entirely aware of our massive infrastructure debt, and yet we remain entirely unwilling to pay it off before the lights go out for good.